All right, welcome back. Last week we talked about the relays in the front and what they control and our safety circuit. Safety circuit's been kind of our go-to thing for the last two videos. This week we're going to talk about what happens if it's not in my safety circuit. Things are still a little wonky. So there's some rules on that one. If you're drawing more than 10 amps, but it's still giving an F3 meg current error, according to the document that we have, you should look at your control board. So this guy right here. So your control board is going to basically control your ins and your outs. And if it's not seeing 10 plus amps on there, it will give an F3 meg current error. But there's other things that this board controls. Well, lots of things that this board controls. So as we look through this document, there's a couple things that are going to point fingers at this board. But I don't immediately change this unless I really can truly rule out that this board is the problem. And those things that you can look for in your test when you're testing is actually going to be on these back wires. You can be looking for your 24 volt signal to these. So if you push and you're activating your mag circuit and nothing is happening, you're not getting any amps and you're not getting volts back here. So when you're testing these transformers in the back, there's a couple rules of thumb. You can test your voltage coming in to your colored wires, but you should never test your voltage going out on your white wire. So what I'm saying is primary wires are okay to test. And how would I test these? Well, if you get everything out of the way of this mag cooling fan, you can use alligator clamps and kind of alligator clamp down, or you can pull the wire itself and shove your leads inside that wire. That works pretty well. What you want to be careful of is not getting your leads to cross between your points. That would end poorly and you would end up welding your leads. So but the reason you don't want to test your secondary, so primary is your in, secondary is your out. Your secondary is actually going to be many thousands of volts, and it's going to be higher than your multimeter can handle. So never, ever, ever test your secondary. And a lot of this can actually be tested without voltage. So we'll go over how to test these using your ohm setting on your multimeter in a little bit. But basically, you're going to be looking for, if you're not getting volts back there or something's not really working quite right, you can start looking at checking your relays to see if you're getting voltage, or you can also check those points coming off of the board themselves. So the document actually has what those points are, and those points are related to C17 and C14, which is going to be for your T2, I believe. Yep. And that one will leave you with no amps. So that's something to keep an eye on. So hopefully that kind of helps you out. I know that's a weird one to kind of talk about, but it is important to test those things to see if you're getting voltage at those points, or check those high voltage transformers. So we'll see you next week. I think next week we'll actually talk about a breakdown of what to kind of look for forward and back and left and right. So and we'll just kind of look at how that relates to our actual troubleshooting document from TurboChef. So we'll see you next week, and we'll play a little bit more with this oven. Thanks for watching.